Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I'm your host, Jessie Brown, and I am very excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 222. 222s, baby. If you missed my last episode, number 221, we chatted about simple techniques to ground yourself. Please, 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 if there is any episode of mine that you listen to that I truly think is going to be very impactful, not only in the moment, but for gaining resources to have with you, it is that episode. I cannot recommend that episode enough. Having tools in your toolbox to utilize both proactively and reactively is critical in life. And it's often not until we get into moments of crisis or overwhelm that we're like, I don't have anything to utilize. I don't have any techniques. And so I encourage you to listen to that episode when you're in a good headspace, gain some, different learnings and understandings and techniques, and then see which one works for you. So I definitely encourage you to check out that episode. If you're watching video, you can see I am a hot mess. My skin has been so extremely dry. I always have one or two pimples depending on where I'm at in my cycle, and they decided to pop out this morning. So I'm really trying to not wear makeup because my face is just so stinking dry, and I know that makeup is not helping that. So if you're watching video, hi. Look at the beautiful plants around me, and we'll try to just not look at this big gigantic pimple on my face that I really need to stop touching. But nonetheless, I am very excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all. I also noticed that I lean in a lot to the microphone. Maybe I should adjust the microphone to be closer to my mouth. I just remember my old podcast coach telling me that this specific microphone works best when you're talking really close to it. So I often will just lean in because that's what's kind of playing in my head subconsciously, even though I know it's the same here as it is here. But anyways, you guys, I am clearly in a very giddy, excited mood. I just finished work. I can hear the birds chirping outside. It is a beautiful Wednesday. I have basketball tonight. I'm super pumped about that. And I'm just feeling really grateful. And my perspective on today is just really good. Which brings me into what I want to talk to you guys about today, which is if you need to change your perspective, and really just if you need to stop being so negative. And I'm just going to say it, it's true. Do you need to stop being so negative? And I know that that's a very harsh, bold statement to say, but unfortunately it's really, really true. And you might be negative and not even realize that you are. Not even recognizing that you are lowering your vibe as a person because your perspective and thoughts on life is just so low. Perspective is everything in life, in how we view things in life, how we talk about situations, how we feel about them. They all dictate our experience in life. And it's as simple as that. When you think something's gonna be crap, chances are you're gonna have the lens on that is gonna view that situation as crap. When you go into something as, oh, this is gonna be terrible, this is gonna suck, and whatever, it's like, well, that's the energy that you're going into it with. So of course you're more likely to see that. But when you can be optimistic and curious and just notice if maybe things could be different, that's when your life is going to change. I know that's when my life started to change. When I started to work on self-love and my relationship with myself and growth and self-improvement, as much as a lot of it did start with self-love, a lot of it changed just with gratitude and how I viewed life. Because I had reached a point where I was like, you know what? I'm ready to just be grateful for the life that I have. Grateful for all the people that are in it, all the things that I'm doing, and knowing that it is in my control to shift things until I'm grateful for them. If the things in my life and in your life aren't serving you or making you happy or filling your cup or inspiring you, of course, your life is going to be a direct reflection of that. I'm sharing this episode because I see so many of us focusing on all the things that we don't have control of. We're focusing on things that are so much bigger than us. And I know that it's hard not to focus on those things, but when every single day of your life and every single ounce of your energy is being spent consciously or unconsciously on the things that you can't control, that's going to affect your mental health. That's going to affect how you view the world. That's going to affect how you show up. Because if all you're focusing on is all the things that you can't control, you're going to feel pretty defeated. And life's going to feel pretty shitty and overwhelming. And what's the point mentality? I know I had a little snippet of this last week where I was just struggling. Honestly, you guys, the full transparency, the last week I've just not felt like myself. I've been having weird nightmares. I've been sleeping super weird. I've been waking up at silly times. I've been having anxiety up the yin yang. It's just, I've not felt like myself. And whenever I don't feel like myself, I always get like this little cloud, and my cloud is always very negative and focuses on the things that I don't have control of, which is why I wanted to talk about this episode, because I know what it's like when you get into those headspaces, but I also know the duality of what it's like to get out of that. I know that this is just kind of a phase that I'm going through right now and something that I need to just love myself through. But for so many of us, we've been stuck in focusing on the things we don't have control of for weeks, months, years. And I need you to be honest and vulnerable with yourself. Is that you? You clicked on this episode for a reason. Whether you are just a listener of this show, and I don't mean just, go you. I love you and I'm so happy you're here. But did you click on this episode because something in the title spoke to you? There's a reason you're here listening to my voice right now. There's a reason that you, of all the decisions that you could have made, of all the things you could have listened to at any time of day, you are choosing to listen to this right now in this moment. So be honest with yourself. I don't have to know. Nobody around you has to know. Just assess for yourself in your mind. Have you been more negative than you would like to? Are you focusing too much on the things that you have no control of? Let me give some examples. Does it feel like nothing in the run of a day brings you joy? It's just like, I guess I have to go to work today. I guess I have to do this. I guess I have to get groceries. I guess I have to move my body today. I guess I have to eat healthy today. I guess I have to read today. I have to learn today. The I have to mentality, she needs to go. She needs to go. When we can change our dialogue around something, even if it's not the most enjoyable. Did I want to work today? Not really. Is there days that are just like that? Absolutely. Do I love my job? Yes. But there's days where I'm like, I just want to go sit outside and enjoy the sunshine or go to the beach or just do something else. But it's like, I've shifted my perspective to just be like, I get to have a job today. I got to wake up this morning. Do you know how many people didn't get to wake up today? Even just that is like a, right to the heart. But it's true. Perspective is everything. I did an episode about this not that long ago, but I'm feeling pulled for some reason to just talk about it again because, gosh, it's so important to realize this. It's so easy in the run of your day to just have tunnel vision on your life and boo my life and boo everything I have to do and this sucks and that sucks and whatever. It's like, how many of those things are actually in your control? And if they're in your control and you're still like, I don't want to do it, well, how many of those do you actually have control of changing? Because if you absolutely hate your job, if you are 100% miserable, you don't want to do it, you don't want to get up, you don't want to go, please find a different job. I'm telling you, life is too short to stay in a job that makes you miserable, because that is trickling into you and your identity and how you're showing up. And again, energetically, all these things leak and influence each other. If that's how you're viewing moving your body, what if your relationship with moving your body just has a negative lens around it? What if instead it's, I have the ability to use my legs to walk? Not, I don't have a summer body, like this sucks. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing to change that? There's so many times where I hear people complain and I just want to like shake them and be like, bah! But what are you doing to counter that thought? It's so easy to just sit there and go, woe is me, like my life sucks. It's like, okay, awesome, Karen, that's great. What are you doing about it? Are you taking things into your control? Are you even aware that these thoughts are happening? That is really the point I'm trying to get to, is so many of us have these thoughts that pass by and we don't even know that we're experiencing them. We don't even know we're being impacted by our own mind because we've been trapped in such a negative loop cycle for so long. I've shared with you guys before, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative. 80%. And it's between 80 and 90% of our thoughts are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. Think about the trickle of that and how easy it is for life to just pass by in repeat patterns over and over and over again. It's not until something happens where we get a perspective shift. I want to be that perspective shift for you. I want you to leave this podcast and just be like, what is one thing that I can do to shift something in my life that I've had a negative context around for the last however long? If it is your job, okay, great. What is in your control? If it's with fitness, great. What's in your control? Finances, great. What is in your control? There's so many things that are in your control. You're not giving yourself credit for it, or you're not seeking the proper support to help you with it. So much of life is our damn responsibility. We don't get to just push everything else on. Well, this is society's issue and this is a government issue and I can't control this. And it's like, and I don't mean to sound like a bitch right now. I'm saying all these things because I get stuck in those cycles. And these are the conversations that I have with myself in my head. And it's like, Jessie, you can't just blame the world for your issues. You can't blame the world for having anxiety. Blame the world for wanting to have more income. Blame the world because of the economy right now. It's like there's so many things that it's just so easy to push it outside of us. But typically, the people that are affected are the ones that we want to feel that the least. We don't want our partner and our kids and our family to feel all that, because then guess what? That just reiterates to them their own reality and causes them to go into negative spirals. And we're all kind of like doing this to each other. There's times where I'll go to a work function and everybody's in really good spirits and it like pumps me up, and it's, you know, I very much feed off of other people's energy. I'm very empathic in that way. I'm working on not allowing negativity to suck me in, but definitely when people are like positive and bubbly and like bouncy, I'm like, yeah. And I say bouncy because that's like very ADHD me, where I'm just like, yeah, like let's go. But then when you go to those events and people are like, this sucks, is this over yet? Whatever, it's like, you catch yourself getting stuck in that, where you're then like, oh my God, this sucks, is this over yet? It's contagious, which is why your perspective has to change. I texted my coworker yesterday, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing this. She was really struggling with going to a work thing she had to go to. And I said, girl, make yourself a hot coffee in the morning, put on your favorite music or podcast, maybe Rewire to Inspire, when you're driving, have that alone time. Once you leave there and your day is done and work is done, there's a cute little thrift store around where she was going. I was like, girl, take yourself to that little thrift store, get yourself a hot coffee for the drive home, and then drive home and look at all the beautifulness on your way home. And I'm like, that's just what I would do. Because I've learned that so much of life is about the beauty that you place in it. It's like, it's easy to go to that and be like, oh, I don't want to go. And like you're driving there and you're like all tense and frustrated at life and, oh, when I get home, I'm just gonna blah, and I'd rather be home sleeping. And I'm not saying that's her, I'm saying that's what we all do, right? And so when you can focus on, well, how can I make the most of this situation? How can I make something that I don't want to do maybe a little bit more enjoyable? I know for me, it's right here, girl. A hot cup of coffee. Whenever there's something that I'm like, I don't want to do that, I'm like, can I bring coffee though? And then it's just a little bit better. And it's incredible how little ounces of things that make you happy, when paired with things in life that sometimes you don't want to do, can make all the difference. But again, your perspective has to change. I seen this thing the other day, and I'm going to try to tie this in. It was really around when things go out of your control. Sometimes it's for the best, and sometimes you don't know why. I truly believe in like guardian angels and higher self, and I'm very woo spiritual brain in that way, but I believe all of us have a angel with us, spirit guide with us, that's looking out for us, that's there for us. I believe that is our intuition. When our intuition is yelling at us and communicating to us and giving us that gut feeling, that is our higher self being like, red flag, red flag, red flag, bring attention to this. And I seen something the other day, and it was around like a burnt toast analogy, or basically saying, let's say you burn your toast in the morning. The time that it takes you to cook or to toast another piece of bread, that time could have been the difference between you getting in a car accident and not. And I know that this sounds very like far-fetched, but I believe that it's true. And when there's times that something's out of my control, I'm like, what if this was supposed to happen actually for the good? What if this needed to happen for something better to happen? What if that job doesn't work out because a better one is coming? What if that friendship ended because it's going to allow you to attract a new friend into your life? What if you got let go from that job because there's another opportunity waiting for you around the corner? Everything is perspective. But when we lose hope, everything kind of goes down the drain. Because you also have to have that kind of attitude. You can't just, when, you know, like let's say you lost your job. Yes, feel the feelings associated with that. Be upset, be angry, you gotta feel stuff to heal it and to process it. But then be like, okay, what could this maybe mean for me? That's now over with. That chapter is now over here. I can't do anything about it. It's out of my control. What could possibly be next for me? I always tell myself, the universe has a plan for all of us. And I say that to me all the time. The universe has a plan. Work hard and be humble and try your best, but also trust that everything's gonna work out. It always has. Even in times where I was completely overwhelmed and lost hope and whatever, it's like everything eventually works out. Everything eventually comes full circle. And sometimes it's holding that perspective for ourselves that maybe life is harder right now. Maybe you're in a harder chapter right now. And friend listening, I keep saying girl, I know that it's not just women that listen to this. It's just kind of my go-to slang. But whoever's listening, I want you to know I'm right there with you. All of us as a collective, I think we can agree, life has just been a little harder. I talk about that all the time on here because it's true. But we have to accept that certain things come down to our perspective with it, our relationship with it. We can't control everything. There are things that are forever going to be out of your control, out of my control. But how can you allow yourself to hold space for what that might mean for you? I had wrote down, so 222, as I said, I'm very woo-brained, very spiritual brained. And when I seen that we were doing episode 222, that's one of my favorite angel numbers that I see. And I Googled what it meant, and it said the appearance of 222 can signal a time of reflection, focusing on duality of situations or scenarios. I was like, holy shit. And I Googled that after I planned out what today's episode was going to be. And I read that and I'm like, stop. reflecting and focusing on the duality of a situation or scenarios. Talk about perspective. It's basically saying a time to recognize your perspective on things and take time to reflect on that. I think that's all I needed to say in this whole episode. I just needed to start by saying 222 means and cut. I want you to take the time to really just notice how this sits with you. What is your go-to perspective? What is your go-to attitude? What is your go-to relationship when things are out of your control? If you burn your toast in the morning, is your response to just be like, to catastrophize really, and think of all the bad things that could happen, or to be like, okay, yeah, this sucks and I need to hurry up because I'm going to be late, but also maybe that was supposed to happen. Sometimes the most unexpected shitty things happen and it's like, well, what if that actually happened for a reason? Maybe somebody's, getting in a traffic jam. Maybe you got in a traffic jam because a person you're supposed to meet wasn't going to be at the right time until later, and so by putting this traffic in front of you, you were then able to meet that person. Like, again, I know it's far-fetched, but it's so true. Like, think of the people that you met in your life and all of the series of events that had to happen to meet those people. The decisions that you had to make and life circumstances that had to happen to get the things that you have in life that you love and couldn't imagine your life without. I know sometimes it's easy when we get into shitty situations to just be like, my life sucks and this is hard and this is terrible. And Jessie, what do you mean find the good in it? It's still important to, like I said, take the time to process your emotions around something. Don't just be like, okay, well, my cat just died, so like this probably means something great. What's next? It's like, no, absolutely not. You need to take time to process and heal. But there are times when it's like, okay, am I becoming too defeated on this situation? Is it time to kind of let go and trust that this happened for a reason? I do truly believe everything happens for a reason. And some things I can't find, like, I guess it's so hard because some situations it's like I never want to just be like, well, that really, really, really terrible thing happened to you for a reason. I said that at 2222, which was pretty cool. But I do think that it does pave a road for something in your future, even if we don't know it yet. I say Steve Jobs' quote all the time, we can't connect the dots looking forward, only backwards. We never know how something is going to align us towards something until we look back and we reflect and we're like, oh, if that didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened, and here I am. So that's what I have, you guys. I wrote down a bunch of stuff on my paper. I read none of it. I did none of this. I read what 222 meant. But I think that's because oftentimes when I come on here, I try to prepare, but it usually just is word vomit of what's on my heart and my mind. If there's anything specific that you guys would like me to talk on or learn more about or hear more about, send me a message. I'm on Instagram at JessieBrown13, Jessie Brown, like the color. I always say that and people laugh. 13. Send me a message. Be like, I want you to talk about this. Can you talk about that? I really like this episode. Whatever. I'd be more than happy to do that. I am holding myself accountable by saying my business that I've been saying I'm going to launch is going to be launched in the next 13 days. Ew, that's so scary to say out loud because I'm so not ready, but I know that I will get ready, and I need that necessity of holding myself accountable to get there. So by April 30th, you guys can expect to see a launch of my new business. My website will definitely not be ready by then. However, the product, oh God, I'm hoping. No, it will. It will. I'll make sure it gets done. It's just so scary sometimes to say things out loud because it's like, well, now I don't have a choice. But it's time and I'm excited and I hope you're excited and I can't wait to share with you guys what I have been working on. So all the love. Happy Thursday. Happy, is it second last week of April? Yes, kind of. Yes, it is. Okay. Well, all the love, you guys. Happy mid-April, and I am so excited to chat with you all. Also, today's the 4th month on the 17th day, and it's 10:47. And if you don't know, my numbers are 1, 4, and 7, so that was just very special. And the fact that this episode's 222 means that it's time to wrap this up, and I'm so excited and just really in my woo brain right now. So thank you guys so much, and I'll chat with you all next week. Bye, you guys.